In FNAF Help Wanted 2, what do the Fazerblast minigames hide off camera from you? Let's take a look at the Western one first, and then FNAF 1, 2, and 3. In this classic carnival style game, you'll wield your trusty Fazerblaster and shoot at the targets passing by. Carney is watching, so you have to try your best to keep the Dreadbear meter in the green. Otherwise, you're as good as dead. There are 5 levels to this minigame in total, which we'll be covering in the order we play them. Restarting this level, I started by moving the camera around the level, getting a good look at our pal Carney in the process. He's just standing in this tiny room all to himself, and looking all kinds of sinister in the process. Things get even creepier as we take a look around the level, which is coated in this thick layer of eerie green fog. I saw something floating a great distance from the rest of the level, and upon closer inspection, it turned out to be a ball, just sort of floating out here. Technically, it was multiple. It flickered between yellow and red, an effect caused by these two objects fighting to occupy the same space. These balls will be used in the following levels, but not this first one. So it's a bit peculiar finding them here. With the lights on, we can get a much better look at the location this level takes place in, and besides a few trees and some level dressing, it's pretty barren. That being said, let's take a look at the Fazerblast minigame itself. Before even starting the game, we can move the camera beyond the red curtain to find a ton of assets already occupying the interior. To start, the back wall is a constantly looping animation of some stars passing by, which helps sell the illusion of movement during the game. On either side of the stage, we can find various assets stacked and clipping through each other, ranging from the dozen of asteroids, the animatronic cast, and several Lulz Hacks robots floating near the ceiling. That's only the tip of the iceberg too, since below the stage we'll find a ton of star-shaped targets waiting to be activated. While the minigame is being played, these stars will light up and begin rising upwards, passing through the player's sight and freezing once out of view. Some of these objects aren't even stored within the minigame stand itself, and because of this we can find a backdrop, some planets, and more of our main cast currently occupying the space beyond the minigame and out of our sight. It's better to preload these objects when initially entering the level to avoid a lag spike if they just appeared, and because there are so many of them passing by, it makes more sense to have them already spawned in and ready to be moved. As I said before, Carney doesn't like when players fail to keep the Dreadbear meter up in the safe zone. Because of this, we can find his jump scare model floating beneath the level, and he's in a pretty strange pose too. I expected a T-pose, which is typical in these cases, but instead, he's in this strange, you must be this tall to die pose. We can then view his jump scare in bullet time, which is pretty spooky, and oh, there's a T-pose. Glorious. In the following level, we'll be playing basically the same minigame, although the setting has changed from outer space to the western frontier. We're not only using the Fazerblaster this time either, we now have a basket full of what looks like colorful soft balls as well, and we'll use these to hit the large targets that appear during the minigame. To make things even more difficult, a box containing Plush Baby will appear, meaning you'll have to hit her with the Fazerblaster anytime she pops into existence. Once again, we can restart this minigame and flick the lights on for a better look. First, we can look beyond the stage and find a ton of objects waiting to be pulled into the main gameplay area. There are multiple backdrops, targets, and even the chair holding Plush Baby just kinda chilling back here. Inside the wagon, there are a handful of different objects in place as well, waiting for the player to start the minigame so they can begin moving. For the most part, the functionality of this level remains the same as before. The objects stored outside the gameplay area will be moved inside as needed. What I was really curious about is a train that appears to move endlessly throughout the stage midway through the minigame. From behind the scenes, we can watch as the train cars pass through the stage as intended, exiting through the wall where the player can't see them, and then moving back to their starting location. After they reach the other side, they'll slide back through the wall and start this process over again, which is a really clever way of pulling off this effect. Next, when we release the Plush Baby hidden behind this gift box, the level goes dark around us as she vanishes. From another angle, we can see that this is no ordinary darkness, but in reality, it is a large double-faced sphere that encapsulates the player and then fades out as the curtains close. From this point forward, Plush Baby can now appear in a random location somewhere in the play area, meaning you have to shoot her with a Fazerblaster to avoid dying before the challenge is complete. That's really it for the Western level, so let's head into the first of this game's hard mode levels. In total, there are 3 hard mode minigames for Fazerblast, each of them inspired by the first 3 Five Nights at Freddy's games. In the FNAF 1 level, we'll be given a third weapon, the dart gun, and now must use all 3 tools to play through a recreation of the very first FNAF game. In the office, we'll have to stop the animatronics from getting past the doors, as we continue popping balloons and hitting targets. We can even get jump scared within the minigame, which is getting too meta for my taste. When restarting this level, I moved the camera beyond the wagon and found something pretty cool. The office environment is currently occupying this open space, and inside of it, we'll find several balloons and targets hovering below the rest of the assets. Currently, the main stage objects are present behind the curtain curtains, and off to the side we'll find Foxy and his pirate cove clipping through the wall. On the main stage, we'll eventually get the option to shoot a target on each of the 3 animatronics present. After landing a shot on one of them, they'll slide down and behind the foreground so we can't see them anymore, but they'll remain here indefinitely. After this section is over, we can watch as the next set slides into place and the old one moves outside the map. Each of these locations move at the same time while the curtain is closed, making the swap unnoticeable from your usual perspective. Now, with the office loaded into the main play area, we can watch as the animatronics appear at the doors. The second they arrive, the cutout will instantly warp behind one of the office doors and remain there for a moment, allowing the player time to hit the target and close the door. If you don't hit the target in time, a jump scare will take place and block you from getting points for a bit. So the way these scare sequences work is a lot more interesting than you'd think. Directly beneath the play area, we'll find what looks like a flat line stretching across the ground. When a jump scare takes place, this line will quickly move upwards and expand into the giant black screen that covers the gameplay area. And on it will be the animatronic who got to you first. After filling with static, this screen will then turn blank again as it shrinks back into this tiny flat shape. Before moving on to the next level, I tried deleting the curtain before starting the minigame in hopes of watching things play out from your regular perspective. Once the game started though, nothing happened. There were no targets, balloons, or anything else moving on the stage. Plush Baby still spawned, but there was absolutely no way to gain points or move on to the next stages, effectively soft-locking my game. Giving this area one more reset, I deleted the whole cart this time instead of the curtains, and surprisingly, the minigame played completely unhindered. It's actually easier playing this way, since there isn't anything to obstruct the balloons as they float up and out to the play area. We can also watch as the other areas move into the level, which is pretty cool. Also, right above Dreadbear is a pair of floating marionette arms. These aren't activated during gameplay just yet, so let's jump into the next hard mode level where they do make an appearance. In the FNAF 2 minigame, all 3 carts will become active as you attempt to get as many points as possible. To do this, you'll check the cameras using your Fazerblast as you keep an eye out for animatronics, shooting these balloon monstrosities with your dart gun as they appear in the vents beside you. During this level, the puppet hands I mentioned earlier keep the Dreadbear meter at or below half, which means you'll have very little room for mistakes. At the end of this level, a fire breaks out and begins burning everything to the ground, including Carney. Jumping back in time, I started to explore the area to see what I could find, immediately stumbling across a Balloon Bonnie and who I think is Balloon Boy. I'm not positive that's who this is supposed to be, but it's the best guess I can muster. It turns out these characters are stored behind these side carts and within the vents until they're moved into the player's sight. As you can see, this vent has Toy Bonnie, Mangle, the Cupcake, and a cutout of Toy Chica, all crammed inside. There are also multiple copies of the children who appear in the side areas. There are some currently laying flat waiting to activate, and others that are stored upright beneath the wagon. They'll pop up occasionally as a way of earning points, but for now they remain dormant and out of sight. In the center play area, we'll find a bunch of different assets stored here and waiting to be used. The player's desk, the office walls, and the back hallway area are all different layers placed in front of each other. Off to the side, we can find Withered Foxy and the puppet hanging out back here as well, but not much else. Mangle appeared in the vent on the right shortly after the game started, and we can watch in slow motion as the darts make easy work of them. Glitter and balloon pieces rain down as Mangle's various pieces explode into a rain of plastic and defeat. It's only a carnival game, but yes, it is that serious. Similar to the previous minigames, we can find several screens that appear within this hard mode level stored out of bounds. The prize corner and camera interface are placed directly outside the play area on the left, and next to this is an image of the Give Cake minigame from FNAF 2. It's placed just behind the cart on the left side, and there's some more children's sprites out here as well. At the end of the level, the entire area becomes engulfed in flames, including our friend Carney. This fire starts off super small and grows in size as more fades in over time, eventually overtaking most of this location as the game comes to an end. We can now head into the final Fazerblast minigame, the FNAF 3 hard mode level. This level is by far the shortest and most simple. All you have to do is fend off Plush Baby as you use all 3 tools to slowly disassemble Springtrap. The entire level is burnt to a crisp, and the obstacles make it hard to effectively attack our enemy. After finishing him off, he'll jump scare you, and Glitchtrap's hand appears in the ball basket to hand us some victory cake. With the lights on, we can see the carnage this fire wrought upon this area a lot better. The wagons are completely destroyed and unrecognizable, and not much better can be said about Carney. He's been roasted like a passive-aggressive marshmallow, and I'd feel bad if you weren't heckling us this entire time. Our horrifying adversary Springtrap is also loaded in as soon as we start the minigame. He's just chilling behind Carney at the moment, and somehow he's almost scarier as a static cutout. From another view, we can watch as he teleports around this level, instantly warping between locations as we attempt to break him apart. I'm not sure if this destroyed version is more or less creepy than the fully intact one, but either way, they're getting Fazerblasted. After landing the final hit, Springtrap will warp in front of the player as the jump scare plays out, falling backwards onto the floor as Glitchtrap's hand extends from our basket. If we trace the arm back to its origin, we'll find that it simply comes to an end inside the basket, and it's of course not attached to anything inside. After taking the cake, which is originally a plushie during your first playthrough, his hand will then retract back into the ball bucket and clip through the table. Once it's under the table and out of sight, it will unload completely.